Another E3 has come and gone, but this year we've been left with a handful of new Witcher 3 gameplay footage in its wake. Hey, what's up everyone, it's StrangeLuv here, and I'm sure most of you Witcher fans have seen the demo footage that was shown at E3. So for this video I've decided to sort of give you an analysis of the gameplay that we've seen so far. So sit back, relax, and let's get into this gameplay footage. So first off, we have the gameplay that was shown at the Xbox press conference showcasing Geralt on a monster hunt tracking a griffin. Now right here at the start of the game we get to see some of the menu interface, and it looks like most of the menu items are the same from previous games, but the UI seems a lot more streamlined this time around. Now I'm just going to pause the gameplay really quick to mention something that I heard in an interview with the developers. They said that not only can you now decide when to release the effects of a potion by drinking it during a fight, but now you can decide to preserve its effects and save it for later, making it sort of an auto-refilling and in a sense an unlimited potion system. And by the looks of the menu, I don't even think we need to gather herbs anymore for potions. So let's say you take a potion before a fight, and then once you're in the fight you realize it's a really easy fight and you didn't need to take that potion. Well, instead of wasting the potion and waiting for its duration timer to go down, now you can just decide to stop the effects of the potion right there and save the potion's effects for later, so I guess that's what makes it auto-refilling. But that's a pretty significant change to potions, and they said that the reason for this change was because they wanted to encourage people to use their potions rather than hoarding them for future fights, because they were seeing that people would just save a whole inventory full of potions just in case they needed them for a really hard fight down the line but then never ended up using them. And that totally does make sense. They're trying to make it less tedious to use your potions, but at the same time I think I did enjoy some of the complexity and the preparation involved in the alchemy from before, even though the alchemy did need a little streamlining. So let me know what you guys think of this change in the comments below, and let's keep going. Alright, so right here we get to see Geralt use his Witcher sense, and Witchers have heightened senses that allow them to hunt monsters a little bit better. And also, here's the debut of Geralt's mini handheld crossbow. Now, we did not have a crossbow in the previous games, but it was something mentioned in the books, so that's pretty cool that they added it in to Witcher 3. Alright, and now that Geralt has shot the griffin, it's going to be bleeding on the ground. He can actually use his Witcher sense to track the griffin, and it has also initiated the griffin hunt quest. And just look at this scenery. I love the amount of detail that they've put in this game, and it's just gonna look amazing when you're sitting down playing it, so I can't wait. And the developers did mention that everything you see in the distance is traversable. You can get to anything that you can see. There is going to be fast travel, so that's really nice because this is going to be a gigantic world, so definitely need some fast travel there. Now, in the midst of Geralt tracking this griffin, he stumbles upon a group of people harassing this woman, so I'm going to pause the gameplay right here so I can give you guys a little breakdown of this scene in case you missed it the first time. So we have what appears to be a group of bandits trying to get into this woman's house, and you can see her saying "spare me" off to the right. And we also see and hear one of the men say, "Open it or I'll set the hut afire." Now if we look closely here in the center, there's actually a man on the ground getting kicked by these bandits, and he's still alive, but as Geralt approaches, the bandits actually cut this guy's throat and kill him. Now we see Geralt go and fight this guy on the left, but what I'm wondering is if you could have actually saved this guy on the ground, because they don't cut his throat until after Geralt initiates the fight with this guy on the left. Now had Geralt instead went and attacked the guys on the right, I think he could have saved the dude on the ground, so I like that. I like when a player's given the choice to determine how a fight plays out, especially because this is a relatively unimportant fight and Geralt just kind of stumbled upon these guys, but you can still have a little bit of control over the situation. Oh, and check out this part right here. The dismemberment physics are real in this game. That's pretty badass. Now, this gameplay from the press conference wasn't the best to show off the combat, so I'm just going to show you guys a quick snippet of the same scene of some different gameplay that was done on a Twitch live stream where they interviewed the Witcher 3 developers, and you can tell that whoever's playing is a little bit more comfortable with the controls, and they show off the moves a little bit better, so we get to see some more of the signs. Not quite as much dismemberment, but you can tell that the movement is much more smooth. Now, I do think that they've improved on the combat from Witcher 2 based on what I've seen of the gameplay, which is a good thing, because at times the Witcher 2 combat could get a little bit clunky and it wasn't very smooth or intuitive, and based on what we've been shown of Witcher 3, I think it is going to be much smoother. The chaining of combos is going to be a lot more seamless, and it'll be a lot more user-friendly, it looks like. I'm really looking forward to improved combat in Witcher 3.
You can come out.
Damn it. He only came for a brew to break a fever. What are you doing here?
Tracking a griffin. Trail took me through here.
Seems I had a stroke of luck then. Thank you.
Look like deserters. Could be more bands in the area. I'll come back once I'm done with the griffin, just in case.
Wow, that cutscene is really impressive. Let me show you a couple things here. First off, the amount of expression and emotion that you can read into on these characters' faces is just wonderful. You know, it really pulls you into the story and it makes you feel like you're there watching real people live out this storyline. Just check out this girl's facial expressions for a second. First, Geralt tells her that there might be more bands in the area and she is visibly sad on her face. But then, when Geralt says he'll come back, her face just lights up and you can tell she really is wanting him to come back. And you can read it all over her face and in her body language. She opens up, and that's a really remarkable feat for a video game to be able to have that level of quality in their expression. And besides, you gotta give it up for our man Geralt being the #1 ladies' man.
I'll come back once I'm done with the griffin, just in case, just in case, just in case.
You know he's coming back for some sexual healing. And what's interesting about this encounter is, even though it seems like a relatively unimportant encounter with this girl, the developers actually want you to come back to her because she is an herbalist who can help Geralt get some potions for his journey and whatnot. And now, just because of the undertones that that dialogue had, you might come back to her for some sexual healing and then end up staying for some herbs and potions. And I just find that to be so interesting. So mad props to CD Projekt Red for being able to pull off stuff like that in this game. Alright, in this last part we get to see Geralt finally fight this griffin, and they actually said that they removed the back roll that he used to do in his movements, and he sort of can dodge side to side now instead of rolling. And also, they finally gave Geralt the ability to jump, which I feel like should have been there before, but at least they're adding it now. Especially with this level of terrain traversal, it'll be really nice to have that little improvement in his mobility. And I know a lot of the people who watched this gameplay thought that the griffin fight was a little too short, and that's because it is. It's a demo. They're not going to show you the entire length of time that it would take to fight a griffin. But don't worry, I have no doubt that the fights in this are actually going to be a lot more lengthy, and you'll have to plan a little bit more for certain monsters, and even the griffin I don't think is this easy to fight. This is just for the sake of time constraints that they had to show you the demo. Oh, and he's busting out the silver sword. Now you know Geralt means business. And for those of you who don't know, the silver sword is actually for killing magical monsters, and I don't really think the griffin counts as a magical creature, but in this gameplay Geralt did get his steel sword knocked out of his hand, so he had to resort to using the silver sword. And you guys, pro tip, never mess with a guy who's got a griffin head riding side saddle. Now that gameplay wraps up with Geralt riding into the town of Novigrad. And so for this next part I'm going to show you guys the gameplay that IGN posted where they go into Novigrad and just sort of walk around this immense city. So let's go check that out. Alright, so this gameplay picks up where the last gameplay left off, and Geralt is actually going to deliver this griffin head to a guy named Dijkstra in return for some information about where he can find Ciri. And right here he's approaching the gate of Novigrad, which is sort of a port town, so there's a lot of boats and water surrounding the area. And this place is just massive, and wandering through this city is just gonna be insane because there's so many other places to go, but you could probably just spend hours and hours and hours in just one place without having to move on to anywhere else. And the developers also mentioned that the AI are gonna be able to change their behaviors based off of the day-night cycle. So what they're doing during the day is going to be different than what's going on at night, kind of like how it was in Witcher 2, but I'm sure it'll have a lot more depth to it. And it's important to note that when you're playing The Witcher and you're wandering through immense areas like this, they're full of content and complexity, so you really have to keep an eye on your quest log because you're going to run into quests that cancel each other out, depending on the choices that you make. So just be really careful with what you do, who you choose maybe to kill, because when you play an open world game like this, a lot of people like to just go kill NPCs randomly, and in a game like The Witcher, there's gonna be consequences for your actions, so just be aware of what you're doing. Now, coming up right here is one of the best parts of this gameplay. No, not the prostitute. Right here. Did you catch it? He opened the door without a load screen. Oh yeah. In an open world game, you gotta celebrate the little victories like that. Alright, so right here he turns in his Griffin Hunt quest to a guy named Dijkstra, where he has a brief conversation about where he can find this ashen-haired woman who we all know is most likely going to be Ciri, and he tells Geralt to go find this strange little boy who lives in the woods who was last seen with Ciri. And that's where the next chunk of gameplay and the next part of the quest is going to pick up. But before we get to the last bit of gameplay, it's important to mention that Witcher 3 will have fast traveling this time, which is really important for an open world game to be able to do that. So now in Witcher 3, Geralt will have the ability to fast travel to any location he's previously been to, which is really nice considering some of the huge distances they're going to have in this game. And from what I understand, you can't just fast travel wherever you want from your menu. You can only fast travel from designated signposts in a city or a location. So right here at the end of this gameplay, Geralt walks across the bridge outside of the town walls, and if you look really closely, you can see this crossroads sign, but you can also see a little icon above it. And this is just a guess, but I think those are the designated signposts for fast travel. But we'll have to wait and see. So this last bit of gameplay continues on the same quest as before, where Geralt is looking for this little boy who lives in the forest who might be able to tell him something about Ciri's location. And apparently, when they showed this demo on the show floor at E3, the developers explained that Geralt had to fast travel out of Novigrad to this forest because it would take a good 20 minutes if Geralt had to just sit on horseback and ride straight there across the terrain, which really helps put into perspective just how massive this game is going to be. Alright, so Geralt just found Johnny, the boy who lives in the woods, and check out the creepy owl eyes on this kid.
Johnny? Don't be afraid. You're a bucka? Ah, a godling. Not many of you left. I'm looking for a woman with ashen hair. Seen her? Tell me everything from the start. Where did you see her? What was she doing? It's important to me. Why not? Lost your voice? Can I help you somehow? Can't understand you. Try to explain it somehow. Want me to follow you? No choice, I guess.
Alright, I'm not gonna lie, the first time I watched that scene, it creeped me the hell out. But now that I've watched it a couple times, little Johnny is actually kind of a cute kid. And once again, I'm really impressed with the level of expression these characters have. Johnny even did a facepalm right there when Geralt said that he didn't understand him, so I thought that was pretty funny, and it's those little witty elements that help you really connect to the characters and get into the world. So anyway, Geralt is off to go and help Johnny try and find his voice, but on the way, he runs into a group of drowners, and these are some recurring creatures that we've seen in both Witcher 1 and 2. They're basically like criminals who died either in the water or their bodies got thrown in the water after they died, and they come back to life as these sort of slimy, skinny, undead sort of creatures seeking revenge, I suppose, and they're usually found in these watery, marshy areas like this, so it's not a huge surprise that we're seeing drowners, but at least we get to see some more of Geralt's combat, so that's pretty nice. But of course, for Geralt, those drowners are a piece of cake. Alright, and now we're approaching the final cutscene here, so let's see what happens.
This the place? Let me look around. Something's on the ledge? Something that'll get you your voice back? Guess I gotta make this climb.
Alright, and unfortunately that wraps up the last of the Witcher 3 E3 gameplay that we were able to see here at home, because apparently if you were at the show, they had a whole 45-minute demo of gameplay that continues on this quest if you were there on the show floor. So I'm definitely jealous of all the people who got to watch the rest of the quest play out at E3, but I read about it and apparently little Johnny, when he gets his voice back, he is just enamored with poop. He loves to talk about poop, he loves to poop, and that's maybe why he got his voice stolen, because maybe somebody was tired of hearing about it. But you know, I love when games add little funny, lighthearted elements like that, especially in a relatively serious game like The Witcher. It just shows that the developers know that it's a game, they know it's supposed to be fun, and you need to have a nice balance between serious elements and some more lighthearted fun elements too. So I just can't wait for this game, you guys. It's going to be amazing. And I hope you guys enjoyed this little analysis that I did of the gameplay, because unfortunately it's probably the last we're gonna see for a little while, at least maybe until Gamescom. I'm predicting that's when we'll see some more from The Witcher. But I do plan on making some more Witcher videos in the coming months to help people get acquainted with the Witcher series and to prepare for the release of Witcher 3. So if you liked what you saw, make sure you hit that subscribe button, and I hope you stick around. Alright everyone, thank you so much for watching, stay strange my loves, and until next time, this is StrangeLuv, signing out.